Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you are all having a great day to start things off. Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrency, has seen a surge in popularity. That's an understatement. Again, after the recent price increase. This movement was also helped by comments and suggestions from advocates and luminaries in the field of digital assets. A recent tweet had asked Twitter users interested in cryptocurrencies about the maximum reasonable price for Bitcoin that Bitcoin can achieve in the reasonable future, something which gained a lot of traction in the involvement of famous personalities such as Changpeng Zhao and Ryan Selkis. Changpeng Zhao, the chief executive officer of Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, answered the question by stating, and I do quote, "There is no such thing as a max price for Bitcoin." He also said, "Do you mean potentially infinitely high price of Bitcoin, or that in the near future goods and services will be priced in Bitcoin and it won't make sense to correlate in the US dollar," end quote. For those who have no idea what that last sentence was about, a lot of people believe as Bitcoin is on this trajectory that a lot of people are now charting and seeing that it has been very clear since around 2012 that we have actually been on this chart, but you only get this information when you kind of look back into the past and you see exactly where we are right now. That eventually Bitcoin's price will get so high, according to many analysts and many other prominent people in the cryptocurrency space who believe this, that when Bitcoin's price gets so high that eventually there will be no longer a need to correlate its price to the US dollar. It'll simply be in Bitcoin, and we will then start to characterize other prices that we have for other things in Bitcoin and or Satoshis. Changpeng Zhao's reply was to the point that which he claimed that there is no such thing as a maximum inflation for fiat, a statement that a lot of people agreed with, which is also true. Logically, Ryan Selkis, the founder of Masari, had another opinion to the original question. He said, "After $250,000 Bitcoin, the dollar's reserve status will be in jeopardy, so all bets are off," which we also spoke about yesterday, that a lot of people have been doing the calculations. And also, I can't remember the exact name of the firm in Switzerland, but it's a very famous thing. They did it last year where they calculated that all Bitcoin has to do is hit all it has to do, air quotes, is hit $250,000 per coin. And at that point, the dollar, other countries around the world will stop focusing on the US dollar and simply correlate their currencies in the price of Bitcoin. Changpeng Zhao and Selkis were not the first individuals to predict such massive or positive movements, as many in the past have predicted Bitcoin to reach heights of even $1 million per Bitcoin. At the time of writing, Bitcoin was trading at 7,900, total market cap so and so, price, money. Yeah, this is a lot of people, and I'm glad that this is finally starting to happen. Once again, a lot of people were very quiet during 2018. Even the head of Binance said the reason, rather, a lot of people, especially dominant people in the cryptocurrency space, kind of had their head down during the course of 2018 because they were trying to update their systems. They may have also been probably they were buying up more cryptocurrencies, and just the idea that we're finally getting these people coming out once again to state exactly where they believe that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are going over the next couple of years is very exciting, because usually the price metrics that we even get for when we talk about a $250,000 Bitcoin, it's typically not 20, 30 years down the road. It's anywhere from 2 to 5, and it's more like the number 2 than more closer than it is to 5. When you talk about $1 million Bitcoin, people think that that's anywhere from around 5 to 10 years away. And that's basically because of the rate of adoption that we've seen in 2018. If this even slightly continues on the course that we had over the course of 2018, and also the renewed interest in the cryptocurrency space during the beginning of 2019, where we are right now, this is where we get those numbers from. Next up, crypto analyst and author of Cryptocurrencies Simply Explained, Julian Hosp, says a metric known as the stock-to-flow ratio indicates Bitcoin is on a trajectory to $1 million over the next 10 years. The ratio calculates the current supply of a given commodity divided by the amount produced per year in order to predict future value. When using the ratio to determine where Bitcoin may be heading, the leading cryptocurrency's limited supply of 21 million coins emerges as a key factor in the short term. Hosp says the model shows that Bitcoin's upcoming halving, which will cut the block reward given to miners in half in 2020, should boost the price of Bitcoin from $100,000 to as high as $300,000 per Bitcoin. He says, suddenly we have way less production. So by having this, in order to keep the ratio stable, just from the price of Bitcoin needs to double. We are so much lower right now in the stock to flow ratio compared to gold that if we get closer and closer to gold's ratio, the price should actually go to $100,000, maybe even $300,000. But then we would have a similar setback to how we saw these setbacks are to around $40,000, meaning if we do have a lot of he's not the first analyst to say that during the next bull run, we are, according to the analysts, they keep saying that we're going to go from where we are now, obviously, to anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000 per Bitcoin. I think the highest that I've seen someone say during the next bull run is that we're going to hit, it was around $333,000, and that was if Bitcoin had maintained a certain ratio and it had crossed some golden line and had skipped and hopped down the street. It was, people always have their own terminology, but a lot of people are agreeing that we're definitely going to be somewhere in a pendulum swing between 100,000 to 300,000. And then at some point, as usual, what we've seen before is that people will realize that the market has gotten too hot. Price will pull back. And a lot of people are saying it kind of ranges depending on where you have your charts, that eventually, if we do hit the $300,000 number, that we will pull back to around $40,000 per coin, which is usually kind of accurate because we hit 20,000, and I think the lowest that we fell down to was around 3,200. So it kind of more or less matches. You cannot go up forever, at least in certain cases. As Bitcoin supply continues to dwindle over the next 10 years, HOSP says the price of one Bitcoin is projected to climb to $1 million US. He said, you can see this in the entire calculations going up here. What we always have with this halving, we always have this move up. Obviously, over time, we would get to $1 million here. This is something that would be long-term interesting part. By 2030, it is this kind of example here. We would reach, that's over the next 10 years, $1 million US. That's not also to even forget that I'm slightly kind of interested and excited for what's his name? John McAfee, who said that he believes that Bitcoin, I think by the end of next year, is going to reach $1 million. There are a couple of people who think that by now, it really depends on exactly how bullish you are. I try to stay somewhere in the middle, simply because I also don't want to get my feelings hurt. I don't want to be a hyper bull. And I've seen people's comments over the last couple of months and weeks, and they're like, "Man, you're so bullish." And I'm like, you didn't even know the half of it. Some of the projections I give you are on the low end because I see crystal clear exactly how far this is going. Even as far as like other entities like Facebook and JP Morgan trying to get into it as well. JP Morgan and Facebook aren't getting into the cryptocurrency space because they want to help their customers. They're doing it for money, and they're trying to attack other cryptocurrencies that we have right now, mainly Bitcoin, because they see the exact projection that Bitcoin is going on. There's a reason why years ago, even when Bitcoin was first a thing and we knew that other cryptocurrencies would start emerging, that other banks and other entities that weren't like, okay, yeah, you know what? Payments are too slow. Let's make them a lot quicker. They're doing it because they see, and I'm pretty sure they have the same exact charts that a lot of other analysts do, and they see that eventually Bitcoin is going to hit these 6-7 figure numbers, and this is why they're also trying to cash in on the game as well. Anyway, the point is, depending on how bullishly bearish you are, that doesn't make a lot of sense. People think anywhere, grain of salt time, that by 2021, we will have $1 million Bitcoin price, all the way from around 2030 to get to $1 million per Bitcoin. And that still leads us to a situation where just about every major analyst has indicated that Bitcoin at some point over the next 5 to 10 years is going to hit between $250,000 to $1 million. And I've seen a very weird trend developing once again. I cannot, once again, and will not ever tell you what to do with your money or your cryptocurrencies. I've seen an alarming amount of people talking about that they're waiting for Bitcoin to hit a $50,000 mark, and then they're going to sell off their Bitcoin to do this or to do that. And it's not even Lambos anymore. I'm seeing a lot of other more realistic buying opportunity things, but a lot of people, please understand where this is all going. Like I said, if you get the feeling in your heart and in your soul that tells you I gotta sell. I have some stuff to do. By all means, go for it. This is why I mentioned or suggested before that I think it is more wise to, in my opinion, to gather more cryptocurrencies, and therefore you can sell off other things should the case arise, and keep your Bitcoin, because you do not want to be one of those people who had a full Bitcoin or half a Bitcoin and the price goes up to $1 million, and then you're sitting there like telling your kids, yeah, years ago, 11 years ago, I had half a Bitcoin. Don't have it anymore, because it's not, and I've noticed, and I'm going to mention this because I think a lot of people maybe who are relatively new, maybe even people who have forgotten what's supposed to happen and what's probably going to happen, is that as Bitcoin's price rises higher and higher, I mentioned this before, and I think one or two other videos this year, things will simply be priced in Bitcoin. And I know that sounds completely insane, but this is where I think a lot of people trail off, and they kind of see the money signs in their eyes, but they don't really understand what it means when we're talking about pricing things in Bitcoin. It's the idea that Bitcoin right now is a lot stronger than other fiat currencies that we have around the planet. It's just logical. You know, we can see the numbers and stuff like that. And by the time that Bitcoin hits $1 trillion market cap, we will be stronger than about 80% of the other fiat currencies in the world, because a lot of them are failing. Inflation, hyperinflation, what have you, blah, 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 so and so and so and so. That when Bitcoin's price becomes large enough and the price becomes stable enough and is not fluctuating up and down every single day, you know, in like 9, 10, 18, 15% fluctuations, things will be able to be priced in or next to Bitcoin, as in, you know, if I have, you know, how much is my phone and so and so and so, like if I'm converting, you know, things won't be in the US dollar anymore, or rather people will see Bitcoin as a more stable option compared to the US dollar. And then at that point, it's expected that more money from around the world will be pushed into Bitcoin, because we're no longer basing things on the metric of the US dollar. This is expected to happen within the next 2 years. I know it sounds a little insane, and this is why people were asking, and I see a lot of people asking, like, when should they cash out? When should they so and so and so? Eventually, the idea is that you won't have to cash out, because things in the next 3-4 years will be denominated in Bitcoin or priced against Bitcoin. And then by 10 years, by the time we have $1 million Bitcoin, it's mean that many other fiat currencies around the world, some of the billions of people around the world will start pushing more of their money into Bitcoin, causing a higher and more stable price. And therefore, things will then only be denominated in a full Bitcoin or in Satoshis. This is the idea behind it. And it looks like we are on our way relatively soon. Only time will tell. I'm extremely excited if you haven't noticed, but yeah, let's move on. Next up, two financial firms are signaling future support for Ripple's XRP-powered cross-border payment solution known as XRapid. We had news of this a couple days ago for this one right here. Thailand's Siam, a commercial bank, someone was asking them, would you be using XRP? And the bank said, we will be using blockchain technology for Ripple, but as for XRP, you may have to wait for further announcement. When I saw this a couple days ago, a lot of people thought that was them mentioning that they were definitely going to be using XRP. I am a little torn on that one. Meanwhile, the UK-based payment platform known as Moneynetent, is going on the record for the first time talking about enterprise adoption of XRP. The foreign exchange trading and currency conversion company is also one of Ripple's ex-current clients, and according to the business development director Rafael Golan, the company is seeing increasing demand for speed and liquidity of XRP and crypto assets at large as it expands to serve smaller markets. He said, we're now working on providing local payments in countries such as the US and the Philippines, both of which have large expat flows. We're also seeing increased demand for instant payments and are looking forward to the day when using a digital asset such as XRP to source on-demand liquidity during transactions on RippleNet will be as simple as using credit cards nowadays. We are, or should be, relatively close, in my opinion, to hearing some type of major news from the Ripple people relatively soon, in that last year once again, Brad Garlinghouse, who is the CEO of Ripple, announced that by the end of this year, 2019, we will have dozens of banks using XRP to be able to source liquidity and send money around the world. As of now, especially over the last 6 months, we haven't had many announcements from the people at Ripple. And if you want my honesty, we have had not many situations where institutions were coming forward talking about that they're going to be using XRP explicitly. We had a lot more in 2018, and I believe that this was because a lot of people thought that in 2018 that the prices were going to go back up. Obviously, we know that did not happen. So I am still impatiently waiting to see when these firms are going to be announced, when these banks are going to be coming out of the woodworks and telling us exactly what's happening. They may be waiting for a stronger bull signal, i.e. for Bitcoin to go over 10,000. At that point, the market should, as many are predicting, start going up, start going insane. And at that point, I hope that we start hearing which banks are going to be using XRP, because realistically, the year's flying by already with, we're almost to June and we have around 6 months left in the year. So it may be high time for the people from Ripple to at least 2 a month start announcing banks that are going to be using XRP, but we shall see. Next up, 2 miners have reportedly executed a 51% attack on the Bitcoin Cash blockchain, according to tweets by Cryptoconomy podcast host Guy Swan on the 24th of May. A 51% attack occurs when someone controls the majority of mining power on a proof-of-work blockchain network. This means that the majority block verifier can prevent other users from mining and also reverse transactions, while many have assumed that a 51% attack would be carried out with malicious intent. The above case happened as 2 mining pools attempted to prevent an unidentified party from taking some coins that, due to a code update, were essentially up for grabs. According to Swan, 2 miners who control the majority of the network, BTC Top and BTC.com, performed the attack in an effort to stop an unknown miner from taking coins that were sent to anyone or sent to an anyone can spend address following the original fork in May 2017. As per Swan's tweet, he said, I'm not even going to read all that. It comes down to the fact that people have been, and this is something that's going to continue to happen, people are calling out the centralization of the Bitcoin Cash network, as they have been doing for many other coins. We know that at the moment, 2 mining pools control over 43% of the Bitcoin Cash hash rate mining pool situation, which is also a red flag. Apparently, what they say happened is that someone was apparently attempting to get some coins that were not theirs. These 2 mining entity powers came together, said no, pushed their computing power together, and created what essentially was seen as a 51% attack. Bitcoin Cash advocates are saying, no, this did not happen. It was not a 51% attack. Our network was not attacked. Kind of depends on how you look at it. The idea that 2 mining pools, 2 entities could come together and not reverse a transaction, but kind of stop someone from doing something on their own is a little worrying. Kind of is what it is. I mean, I've spoken to all of you before exactly how or what I think about Bitcoin Cash. People have been asking me in the comment section, if you are new here, you are going to learn. People have been asking me why I don't talk about Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin Cash Satoshi's vision. Like I said, if you are new here, I will clear this up right now. There is only one Bitcoin. These are forks of Bitcoin. And as such, in my opinion and many other people's opinions, 13 around 35 other Bitcoin forks have happened, or people have made their own Bitcoin coins. There was also Bitcoin I saw a couple days ago. It was BITCOIIN. These, in my opinion, should not exist, and this is why I do not talk about them. And when I do talk about them, it's kind of to bring to light that they are, in my opinion, the way that I see them, they are garbage, and I do not think they will be lasting for much longer. But once again, that's my opinion, and don't for a second think, I can see people getting riled up. Don't think for a second that I would not talk negatively about Bitcoin. I have many times in the past. It's just a matter of that we know that now that Bitcoin can be updated, and many of the other forks who were claiming that they could do stuff that Bitcoin could not do, we now know that Bitcoin can do because of side chains and second, third, and fourth layer solutions. So anyway, like I said, don't for a second think that if something negative happens on Bitcoin that I won't talk about it on this channel. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, OKEx, the popular digital asset exchange, released a tweet this week hinting at a potential collaboration with Litecoin. It seems kind of obvious from the photo. The lightning bolt in the background has triggered speculation that OKEx may be gearing up to adopt Litecoin's Lightning Network. For those who are not looking at the screen, it says OKEx, light up the darkness, with light, of course, spelled Lite. Yeah, cool. Kind of awesome. I mean, yeah, I don't really know what to say to this. I think a lot of people are, we're seeing more adoption for Bitcoin's Lightning Network, so it's only logical that we will start to see more adoption for Litecoin's Lightning Network. Yeah, so that's next up, PaySend, a UK-based fintech company, says it is launching a new stablecoin on the Stellar network. They said, the PaySend stablecoin is built directly on Stellar, which was designed expressly for tokenizing assets and making payments. Stellar offers real-time transactions at a fraction of the cost of other blockchain networks. And here's the actual tweet from Stellar talking about PaySend using their network. A lot of the news that I tried. If you were here during 2018, you know, Stellar's not one of my favorite projects. It's just not. Kind of is what it is. I tried to like Stellar. I really did. I saw the IBM news and I was like, yeah, let's go for it. A lot of people were adamant that IBM and everyone else and their mother were going to be using Stellar lumens, that is to say the cryptocurrency, to facilitate transactions back and forth. The news that we had from IBM is that they were building a stablecoin on Stellar and not using lumens explicitly. And then we had about 4 other banks who I think came forward and said that they were going to be building stablecoins on Stellar. And now we have another situation where another company has come forward to say that they are building a stablecoin directly on Stellar. So no one has been announcing that they're going to be using the lumens cryptocurrency. It kind of is what it is. I mentioned years ago that I did not care for Stellar. I feel like, in my opinion, a lot of their partnerships, this is once again my opinion. You can hate me if you want. I really don't care. It's just kind of how it comes down to how I feel about it. A lot of the partnerships that we've seen with Stellar and even the integration of Stellar, or rather cryptocurrency exchanges adding Stellar or talking about adding Stellar before adding XRP, you know exactly who I'm talking about. It comes down to the fact that they did not put funding into Ripple or into XRP, and this is why a lot of them were betting on Stellar a lot more. And I think a lot of people are still betting on Stellar, but we have, as of yet, at least into my mind, not one company who has announced that they're going to be using lumens to facilitate transactions back and forth, while we at least have 13 or 14 who have announced that they're going to at least be using XRP. And that's crypto exchanges, that's remittance services, that's banks in Mexico, Philippines, Thailand, what have you. I think Stellar will stick around, but that's also, I feel like a lot of people in the very beginning bet heavily on what they thought or were told was going to be a winner. And this is why I think we're in the situation right now. It's kind of the same exact thing for Ethereum. We know that Ethereum is not fast and cool and awesome and, 3,000 transactions per second. But a lot of people, when they realize that that Bitcoin to them in around 2014, 15, 16 was too overvalued, air quotes, they saw Ethereum for $1, bet heavily on Ethereum. And this is why I think we see a lot of people still building on top of Ethereum in the hopes that one day it's going to actually have their scaling solutions. I think if we had a switch of scenario and a lot of these companies were able to, and this is once again my opinion, I think if we had a situation where there wasn't this like pledge of allegiance to certain coins, I feel like people who are talking about using Stellar would have easily gone over to Ripple and XRP at this point, as they are partnered with over 200 something banks on this planet. And I feel like the same exact way for Ethereum as well. If Ethereum had not come out when it did, I feel like Cardano, maybe Tron, and definitely EOS would be more of the dominant players. But I feel like there's a huge push for Ethereum. That's not to say that Ethereum isn't amazing or awesome or isn't going to make it. It just, I feel like lines were drawn and allegiances were made very early in the cryptocurrency space. I think a lot of people are afraid to pull their money out and to push it into something else. But it kind of is what it is. And I mean, like I said, that does not mean that Stellar is not going to make it and is not eventually one day maybe potentially going to have a $1 trillion market cap. It's just that at the time of since forever, no one's really using Stellar. And even the hype that we had around Stellar being used by IBM was, yeah, they're using Stellar, but they're using the Stellar blockchain. And people were like, no, they're still using the token. You don't find any mention of the token anywhere, regardless of if their stablecoin has to go through the Stellar network, and therefore the payments and or fees are facilitated in the Lumens token underlying. It's still not using, like, no one has been like, yeah, we're going to use Lumens. No one at all. So we'll see how this plays out. I mentioned this in one of my ancient videos a long time ago. People were asking me when I was telling people when XRP was less than a cent. I was like, I'm pretty sure XRP is going to make it, because I was watching all this stuff with them on the news and them being very friendly with regulators and banks and stuff like that. And everyone was like, no, I'm pretty sure Stellar and IOTA are definitely going to pass by XRP. And now we're 2019. So tell me how that's working out. Let's move on. To kind of finish things up, this past week, Litecoin helped lead another crypto rally and helped carry Bitcoin, okay, it's a bit strong, and the rest of the market higher. The silver to Bitcoin's digital gold, Litecoin is expected to be among the highest performing crypto assets in the coming months as investors accumulate ahead of the halving. However, one particular crypto analyst is so confident in Litecoin, he calls his position in Litecoin a no-brainer. As Bitcoin continues its parabolic rally towards previous bull market highs, the rest of the crypto market reached new lows relative to Bitcoin, which is very interesting. While the cryptocurrency prices have been going up in US dollars, comparatively to the actual Satoshi price of Bitcoin, many other coins are falling like rapidly. It's actually very interesting to see that Bitcoin itself is, even in its own right, is reaching all-time highs, even just against other coins, not even comparatively to the US dollar, but even in the form of Satoshis. Very interesting. But over the past week, renewed bullish sentiment around Litecoin and its upcoming halving, an event that reduces the mining rewards received for validating each block, has caused it to lead the market and set new local highs. While much of the bullish momentum is due to the halving, one crypto analyst, CEO of Block Magazine Crypto Godfather, that's intense, says that Litecoin is a no-brainer. Blah, blah, blah. As expected, the analyst points to the halving as a primary reason for taking a position in the Charlie Lee created cryptocurrency, citing that each previous halving has pushed price up significantly. The last time, I think Litecoin's price in 2017 went from $4 to, I think, $360. Was it 400? Let's say 360, just as a whatever number. That's a huge increase, going from $4 to 300 something. That's completely insane. There are a lot of people who are calling for a $2,000-$3,000 Litecoin during the next bull run. That is to say, over the course of a potential 1.5, 2-year period, as prices go up, go down a bit, go up, go down a bit, go up, go down a bit, and we finally reach that pinnacle before everyone loses their minds. Prices hit all-time highs and we kind of slam down again. It's happened during every market. You know, this isn't prices going down aren't brand new. People are calling for a multi-$1,000 Litecoin, which I think eventually is going to happen. I hope that Litecoin continues with this momentum. I think it interesting that in the news, at least, we have not heard an enormous amount from Charlie Lee. He may be stepping back to kind of not affect the price of Litecoin and where it is going right now. I think we have around 2 months and a couple days before the reward halving actually gets started. I'm interested to see if we are going to have a beginning of a bull run within the next 2 months, as in we are in a bullish market. Does not mean we are in a, crazy upward bullish movement. exactly where Litecoin is going to go. Like if we went from $4 to $360 before, I think it's fairly okay to state that Litecoin at $114 is probably at least going to 10x, if not 20x, like many of the other coins end up doing, which would be kind of insane. Yeah. Alrighty. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Professor Wally from Gunbot University, SC Verzely Fine Art, Crypto and Beer Shipmate, Brady Niels, L. Doug, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, Shaolin Fried Rice, Gilliboa Snake, Crypto Joe, Mohair Maroney, Carl Birchenoff, singer-songwriter Mike Savitz, Rai, Yasha Harari, Amy Starsheen, Jeffrey Ramsey, Crypnotic, Clara T. Snowden, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Nicholas One Earth, One Piece, One Love, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich the Third, RF Dusty, Cody, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Jeremy the Photographer, Jim Gardner, Minting Coins, Arthur Yaku, Nick Mangelavori, and Anthony Charles. Thank you all an incredible amount for your patronage. At the moment, the market we're pretty much around exactly where we were yesterday, except for apparently XRP has, so saith the Alex Cobb. I only caught a bit of his video, said that apparently that XRP has crossed the golden line, the golden cross, the golden croissant. Something happened with XRP, and this is why we see this upward momentum for the price of XRP. Very good. A lot of people are saying if this continues, we could eventually hit a 50-cent XRP by June. I think it's possible. XRP wasn't moving for a while, and now we see this little bullish sentiment taking place. And for those who are not looking at the screen, or even those of you who are, EOS is up around 15%. Kind of insane. A little upset, I'm not gonna lie. I tried to get some EOS about a week ago, did a bank transfer. Money's still not there, and this is why I love cryptocurrencies, because the money moves very fast. EOS was around like $5.17 a couple of days ago, last week, somewhere around there. It is now at $8.04, and I woke up this morning happy that the price had gone up, but a little angry that I didn't catch it at a lower price. I'm still going to try and get some. There's a lot of stuff happening in the cryptocurrency world right now, and everyone is very, very excited. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. It's kind of weird that these charts hadn't loaded. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. I appreciate all of your support, and I will definitely be talking to you all soon. See you.